Okay, welcome to another episode of Roll or Die. Today we have another legend from Legacy. He is a superstar and he is a are you a second degree?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, second degree
Second.
black belt, Caio Tamura. Thanks for joining us, Caio.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me, guys.
Awesome, brother. So you're in Sydney?
Great introduction. I don't know
Thank
that
you.
the superstar.
You are. That's Anton's
good.
favorite word. I don't allow him to use it, but I'm still allowed to use that word
But
sometimes.
this is the other thing. If I did the introduction, I would just get your name out, brother, and that would be it. Like, my introductions are terrible. That's why Kim does the introductions nowadays.
Nice. That's great.
And we have had a few of your teammates from Legacy on previously. So
I remember watching Phil. I remember watching Thiago's and Eric's.
Yeah.
And Hey guys, sorry for the noise. The classes are just started. We have a class starting, so if
That's
it's
fine, man.
I'll try to move around.
As long as
No
you're not
problem.
teaching the class. Are you planning to teach this class, man? Because if that...
No. The class is happening over there.
Very awesome, man. The old school warm-up. The old switch it this way, switch that way. High knees. Kick the butt.
Yes.
I love it, man. I love it.
Basic and simple.
Yeah, I
Yes.
agree, man. Yeah, I agree. So, Kim, do you want to ask the first question?
Yes, I'll go for it. So I've actually been there, and I think I've done a class with you, Cal, when I went up to Sydney a couple of years ago.
I remember coming visiting.
It's a really great location, and I think I've asked the other guests that we've had on from Legacy about this. But what do you think it is that makes your club so successful, such a great place?
I think there are like a combination of factors. One, I think all the coaches pretty much they like to be competing and being up to date. So we always like up for a challenge, trying to like always, training. We love the environment. Also, I find the environment that we have here, it's kind of like great. Everyone tries to help each other. If like someone has like a problem with something, they're more happy to share the technique and not holding back. So everyone kind of like push each other to a next level. So that's I think one of the things that it's good.
Yeah.
It's good about it.
Yeah,
awesome.
for sure.
Do you find that happens with the beginners as well? Like I find, I don't know, there's two types of beginners I'm kind of observing nowadays. It's like the beginners who just show up and try and do the classes. And then there's the students who seem to be like fascinated and asking lots of questions and really listening to the answers and really trying to apply. Like I was the first type, and very much just trying to get it right, but not, just kind of caught up in my own world too much. But I guess my question is, like, does the culture of the club get the new students to really get interested and ask the questions? Like, is that something that is working there?
Look, I'm the fundamentals coach. I kind of like guide and teach all the fundamentals here pretty much. And I really push like and make like the students asking questions. If they have any question, ask about it. Do not hold back. It's time for learning and understand, because it's kind of like you're learning a new language. You don't know anything. So we start talking like, but side control, they're like, what's going on? What is that? Why I'm doing this or that? I'm like trying to ask. And also when I'm doing the fundamentals class, I try to always like pair up then with like a higher level, so they can kind of like get a better guidance when I have the color belts in class.
Yeah, right.
So I find a good way of like getting them to have a better understanding.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And how did you get started in jiu-jitsu? Tell us your beginnings. Were you in Brazil before you came here to Australia? What happened?
No, that's funny. I was in Japan. I lived in Japan from 2005 to 2010. So, and then I started in 2006 in Japan with a friend of mine. He used to train, and then it would be like, hey, let's go, let's try. I'm like, nah, not gonna be holding guys, hugging guys and stuff. It's the same saying. Everyone says the same thing, right?
Yeah.
And then the day that I did first class, never stopped it. So
Wow.
2005 to 2010 in Japan, and then I moved to Australia 2010. It's 2010. I moved here as a purple belt, and then I'm with Thiago since then. So from purple to black with Thiago.
Wow.
Yeah.
So did you move to Japan from Brazil? Were you from Brazil to begin with, or?
Yes. From Brazil to Japan, and then Japan here. So
interesting, but it was
I
in
started
Japan that you started Brazilian
Jiu-Jitsu in Japan.
A Brazilian in Japan doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Which originated from
That's
Japanese
correct.
Jiu-Jitsu. So there you go.
Yes. That's the full circle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
and so what brought you to Australia? Sorry, Anton. What was it specifically to Australia, or anything? Or
I think like learn English, and then more the lifestyle of like on the beach and like going surf and stuff.
Every Brazilian says that, man.
Yeah. And then once you're here, that's it. You don't want to leave, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's paradise.
Oh man, yeah, I'm fascinated. Like, just going back a step, your friend who, you were like, I don't want to hug guys and hold guys, etc. Somehow your friend eventually got you across the line, right? Like, what do you remember the deciding moment where you're like, okay, I'm going to give it a go? Like, what was the actual thing that had you go past the tipping point and give it a try?
I don't know. It was just like I was always hanging out with this guy, and then he was like the coach from the small town that I was living at the time in Japan. And then one time, just of being around, hanging out with them, and then waiting for them to finish training and stuff, I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna give it a go, and that was it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just being around it enough, and to a point where it's like, well, I've got nothing else to do, so I might as well.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah.
And Kay, you're a smaller guy, if you don't mind me saying. Like, you're a featherweight. How is that for you? Obviously now, as a second degree black belt, you're okay, but especially in the early days, how were things for you being maybe on the smaller side? I don't know if you were small in Japan, maybe they're all small there. I don't know, but how did you find it beginning?
Well, that's quite funny, like interesting. Well, in Japan, there was more like smaller guys, so which the train would be much more technical, very technical. Would be like once in a little while you have like heavier guys. So once I moved to Australia, then when I felt the difference, like a lot of big guys and strong guys, fit guys, like from all different sort of like backgrounds, rugby or people in Australia tend to do more sports in general. So I was like, oh my God, people are like 10 times heavier and stronger. So I started finding ways of just like training and adapting myself. So I don't see as a problem nowadays, but like back in the days when I moved in was like a big difference, a big switch.
It sounds like a good adaptation though. Like you want to adapt from more technical to, playing a bigger person's game than less technical to playing a bigger person's game, I think.
Well, nowadays, like I found ways of training with a bigger opponent.
Yeah.
So, like you being smaller, I can find small gaps. Being smaller, I'm faster. And then you gotta I need to find a way of keep the distance, not let again get close to me. If it doesn't make sense. Like if I'm training with a training partner of over 100 kilos, I'm trying to be faster or manage the distance with my foot, always hip, shoulder, biceps, hip, shoulder, never let them get close. You just find your path, and then you kind of, okay, that's how I need to play with this person or the other person.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah, so that keeps me safe.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Awesome. I've got a question about Japan, right? Because Japanese jiu-jitsu is the base of what then became Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and then you go back to Japan and you're kind of immersing yourself in that art there. What is the what is the view, the cultural view of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu? Is it like, this is a rip-off of our martial art? I don't know why you study it, or is it an embracing community of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu there? What's it like?
Well, as an immigrant to Japan, like there are a lot of like Japanese Brazilians in Brazil, right?
Okay.
So we migrate to Japan to work, and then it's a massive community. So
Right.
there was like, I would say 80% of the gym was Brazilians. And then you had a small percentage which was the Japanese people.
I see.
So yeah, so I didn't have much of that experience of being surrounded with a lot of Japanese. So it would be hard for me to tell you that.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah. But like they were really got like good. They're really passionate about like whenever they jump into something, they just crazy. They're really good. Like magazines, videos, seminars, and this and that, spending so much time. Yeah, I had some good trained partners over there.
That's brilliant.
Yeah. And Caio, you just recently returned from the World Masters where you did pretty well. Your team also did pretty well. You were in the featherweight, Masters 2 featherweight black belt is a pretty big division. And you did pretty well. Like you went through, did you medal? Did you?
No, I stopped on the quarterfinals.
Yeah, just the one before the medals.
I missed by 1 fight, yeah.
Yeah, but you won 3 fights, I think, yeah? Tell us about that.
Yeah, so what happened was was my first competition as a master. So never had competed before as a master. So it doesn't hold that. I can't get like the 10 minutes anymore, I think. It's hard to be pushing on the same pace.
Yeah, true.
And then when that big division, I was focused a lot on myself, just like I had some few injuries, which didn't bother me at the day, but make me exit, like prevent myself of doing some stuff. Then I had the first fight, which the guy didn't show up. So I just walked through. Second fight, won on the decision. Third fight, I won by points. And then a little silly mistake on the quarterfinals. The guy got the score, and then that's it. So the Master 2 5 minutes fight super fast. It goes fast.
Yeah.
So you think that's harder than 10-minute adult?
Yeah, it's not hard. I think it's just a different like strategy, like if you're playing that game, you got to make sure that you go and score first.
Yeah.
So score first, and then that's it. Like it kind of like, it makes it harder for the other person to chase up or score the points. And you're going to get a lot of experienced people, like, so I don't know, 5 degrees, 4 degrees black belts, like people that have been a black belt for a long time. So they know the game well. And then that's pretty much what happened. I got like someone really well experienced. I did a mistake. He swept me, and then he just stalled pretty much the whole round. Like, which was good. Good learning process. Yeah. I'll be back next year stronger.
Yeah, I think my first coach, Peter Devine, used to say that the person that scores first probably got a 70% chance of winning. Do you agree with that? Do you think that's pretty?
On the master divisions, yes.
Yeah.
On the adult division, not so much. Yeah, because it changes a lot. Like it's 10 minutes. It's a lot of strategy black belt, playing.
I suppose though, if you're blue belt 6 minutes or adult, white belt still 5-6 minutes.
I agree with the short rounds. Like would make a huge difference. Yeah. Because you need to expose yourself. Like, you're behind. If you're behind, you need to open up. So now it doesn't matter. So just just if you lose by 2 or 10, it doesn't matter anymore. So open up and fight,
Yeah. And what did you think about the atmosphere there at the World Masters? They said that was your first time there. What did you think of the competition itself?
Was great. I really loved it. The environment, like it's a massive competition. It's a big tournament. Like I think everyone should taste it, should go it, should feel it. It's amazing. It's a lot of things going on. So they had like 40 mats. Yeah. So there was 2 comps happening at the same time. Yeah. yeah, everyone I think should like experience at least once, you know.
Yep.
Sorry.
Keep going.
No, you go, brother. You
Just
go.
say.
No, don't let me cut you off.
So I went like that was funny because 2019 I did I did words adult as well. So and then COVID happened and borders shut, so I couldn't leave the country or do any other competition. Then that was my first international competition after that as well. But like it's completely different. It's more friendly environment. The words master, the words adult, it's like
Killers.
It's kind of at the nerves and like everyone's like really pumped up and serious. Is like it's a completely different environment.
Yeah.
But it's awesome. Both are awesome, you know.
Yeah.
And just in case I wake up as a black belt and 12 years younger and a lot lighter tomorrow morning, you're going to come at me, right? We're going to be meeting at the World Masters. You're going to come at me. How are you going to get those first points? Like, what do you like to do? Like, what's your strategy?
I try to focus like nowadays more on my game. I've been playing a lot like top and stand up now. So for a small guy, I like to play stand up. And there are a lot of people that on my weight division is quite hard because people like normally they get grips or sit down or try to sit down straight away. You know, like they never exchange. So and then I just like play top.
Cool.
Yeah.
But playing top is hard. I don't know, like you get those flexible guys, really mobile.
Thank God, yeah.
And
Yeah.
you get tired faster.
Awesome. Yeah.
I love it, man.
And Caio, you also, as well as competing and coaching, you also referee quite a bit. I know you're probably quite familiar face for many people who have competed and had you either refereeing or send you around. How do you find that? Like we asked some other people, like especially sometimes I think you compete on the same competitions that you're refereeing at. So you're doing both.
I'm doing that pump X now coming up.
Yeah. How is that for you?
Competing and
Because it's full on.
I kind of like I'm completely opposite to a lot of people. Like people get nervous when they compete and stuff. I'm the opposite. I'm completely calm. I'm like just calm, and then just reffing the fights and stuff. And I think it get me in the environment and the vibe of the competition. I don't like the waiting around, just like go to the gymnasium and waiting around, and then like what I do, and then you know I like to. If I'm there, I'm working. Time to fight. Get out, change, go in. I need like my 10 minutes on my zone. That's it. I like to be on my way before. So before like the competition day, otherwise it gets a bit stressful for me a little bit. I think the way part's the stressing part for me.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I totally agree with you, man. Like I love like some of the comps that I've performed best at are the comps I'm actually running. You know what I mean? I'm running the comp. And so I've been doing all of these things and then it's just time. So I just put on my gi or I get my no gi and then I compete and that's when I get my subs, you know what I mean? Whereas if I've had the whole morning, I've got to, manage my weight through breakfast. I've got to do all of these things. It's like I get there, I'm so nervous, man. So I completely understand that, man.
Yeah. I think like forgetting about the fight.
Yeah.
It make me not like go, what I need to do. I need to do this. I need to do that. I need to do that and then that. I know what I need to do. I've been training. So that's it. I need 5 minutes, zone out, zone in, and then go, that's pretty much it. Otherwise you just like, you go crazy thinking, I need to do this and I'll do that. And then,
what if I don't get
but what if that happen? If I don't get this? Yeah. I think that will drive me crazy.
What do you think about what has refereeing kind of taught you or helped you with your jiu-jitsu? How have you found that as well, or has it been more coaching that's helped you? What do you think's helped? How have you found it?
Well, I think refereeing helps in all aspects. Like if you're doing a sport, you as a higher level or a top ranking, you should like you should know the rules, right? And that is still nowadays in a competition is still a lot of like knowledge, like a lot of people come into the competition, they don't know the rules, they don't know what's going on sometimes. So this is something that really helps you understand the sport and the rules, the game that you're gonna play, find the coaching as well, because even like refing, I've been refing for a little while, and not even nowadays, I still have questions, you know, I still have like doubts. A lot of times we get to the gym, we're like, hey, I'm lucky enough to have Eric here and like Ricardo, the guys that like normally ref all the time as well. And then you sit down, you're like, hey, what do you think about this? And then you kind of like discuss, and then, oh, no, but I think it's that. And then, so we kind of like always like studying and like clarify each other's questions, you know, like it's hard to say that you know everything, but you can control and minimize the mistakes that you're going to make on the competition, you know, like also passing on to your students or passing on to your training partners. So imagine if like, I try to keep eyes a lot, like a lot of new people, like they learn full locks and then they start like turning to the wrong direction because they just grabbed the foot and they got excited.
Yeah.
It could cause like a serious injury on someone, you know, like.
Absolutely.
And then like if you're able to pass it on and explain to them why, and yeah, those kind of things, I think it helps a lot.
Makes sense.
So yeah, it completely helps me with like the game, the teaching, and yeah, with everything. I really like it.
Cool, man. That's awesome. I got a question. It might be a little bit hard to answer. I don't know, but you know, I like to I want to challenge you as well. So like, is there something recently that's like surprised you about jiu-jitsu that you never put together until recently? You know what I mean? Something that you're just like, holy shit, I never thought about that, or I never thought about this. Like, what's, as a second degree black belt who's competing and training hard, like what is the thing that's most recently surprised you?
Well, I think jiu-jitsu evolves a lot. Like it's not like I'll be able to answer this question, okay?
Awesome.
And there are a lot of people that like, I think still nowadays you're gonna have like a lot of close-minded people that they don't want to learn what's happening. They kind of like they happy with their game, and they kind of like don't want to like get out of the comfort zone, you know, like. I find you've got to learn everything because especially being a professor nowadays, for sure, you're going to learn something new that you don't know or never seen. And then you got to experience that to pass it on to your students. So there's a lot of new things coming up, like the bug choke,
the buggy choke.
What else?
Absolutely.
I learned like not long time ago that this is squeeze-o. I don't know if it's like a guillotine where the person's defend and then you change with the fist. So instead you hold the guillotine over here, you change over here. I didn't know that like that was a thing until like one of my students, a blue belt, he like start doing it and showing me, and then I thought he created, and then eventually he's like, no, it wasn't me, it was someone else. I was like, oh, okay.
Wow, man.
you always learn, you know, like you can't be close-minded. You need to be open to learn. A lot of times you see like a white belt or someone doing something, and then you're like, wow, do it again. And then you kind of like, yeah, I'm always trying to see all different angles, not being like close-minded. I learn from everyone, you know.
You're a great coach, man. That's amazing.
And what does the future have for you, Caio? Like you mentioned about going back next year again for World Masters and Pan Pacs as well in a couple of weeks. So you'll be still competing, lots, coaching, training. Yeah.
Well, I think like the competition is all kind of like keep on tracking of like training, you know, like, so I'll be competing as long as I can. Probably not adult division anymore. Probably I'm gonna be shifting to masters, the master 2 now, which is my age.
Amen to that, hey Anton.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Stay down there, man. Don't come up to Masters 5 anytime soon.
Yeah. So I will be competing now pump packs, and then I'm going towards Worlds Nogi December.
Awesome.
So I'll do that. I'm still deciding if I'm gonna compete adults on that one or master. So we'll
That's
see.
right. They have masters there. That's right.
One brand,
they
you're
have
like,
masters.
I'm not doing adults anymore, and the other one, I'm still deciding, man. You're torn.
Yeah, this is gonna be the because
Tipping
of
point.
the new rules with heel hooks and like all the ripping. So I still wanna like kind of experience that. Masters, you don't have that, you know, like so I
Yeah.
haven't competed
Okay.
on that division yet with the heel hooks. So
Yeah.
I want to do it.
Okay.
But in the other hand, like it's 10 minutes. Am I going for the win or am I going just to having fun? So you know, like I'm kind of
Grappling
anyways,
industry
and
has
then
heel hooks and reaping, man. Just enter a grappling industries to get your fill, man, and then
and then like see the vibe, yeah.
Yes. True.
And then next year, I'll try to keep on my calendar the Worlds Master for next year, but so far it's just that. Yeah. Worlds Nogi end of the year, December now, and then I'll try to keep next year on my calendar, but like it's too far away. A lot of things can happen. We never know, you know?
That's right. That's right. Yeah. So what's a typical day of training look like for you? How do you, is it just jiu-jitsu? Do you do strength and conditioning, stretching?
That's
what else?
funny. I'm kind of like, do what I say, don't do what I do, right? I like say to students to stretch, do like strength conditioning on the outside, and then I don't do none of those. The only time I did like
man. You're like Gary Tonin, just eats burgers and just shows up and competes and wins.
Well, I the only time I did like I did like strength conditioning for Worlds 2019. I think was the strongest and the fitter and in terms of injury free that I ever been. And I just don't like go to the gym. I don't like sitting down and doing stretch. I know it's important, but like, yeah. But my trains are like pretty much jiu-jitsu, 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 jiu-jitsu. I do like Monday twice, Tuesday one train, Wednesday twice, Thursday off, and then Friday I do one train. So I do a lot of training.
And have you been injured? Do you find that it's enough to stop you getting injured, or?
I was injured like I had like I sprained my ankle actually skateboarding just before going to America for Worlds Master. Just like a stupid thing. Anyway, and then I was injured that training, so I did like a week training before Worlds in Atos. That's when normally when I go to America I do my training. And then
how was that? Tell us. Sorry to interrupt. Tell us about training at Atos.
It's amazing. It's so good to be like a student again, you know, like get there, being a student, learn new techniques, learn new details, new things, get bashed, get out of your comfort zone, you know, like that's the great thing about it.
Yeah, there's something to be said for just being a participant sometimes, isn't there? Not the coach. There's a lot to be said for just participating. There's so much. Yeah,
of course. Like there's so much to be learned, you know, like you can't just sit down and think you know everything. No, you can learn from everyone. And being there, learning from the high level guys, it's like amazing. Yeah.
Sorry, I interrupted you. Go on.
So and then I was training there just like a few days before I go to Vegas. I had like a rib injury, so I had my ankle sprained, and then I had a rib injury, and then I competed the World Masters. So, but didn't bother me was when I was competing, I didn't feel at all. But yeah, so at the moment I'm kind of like recovering from that rib injury. My ankle is kind of okay, and we'll see how it goes. I always have you always have like some small injuries, some things. It's hard to play jiu-jitsu and not have that.
That's right. Yes, for sure.
I'm
But
interested
I'm
to know
I'm
what
really I'm really grateful that I never had any surgery. So since 2006, no surgery, never had any serious injury like that.
That's amazing. That's 16 years. And being, if you don't mind me saying, a smaller guy too, like that doesn't happen. So you must be doing something right.
That's being technical.
So
yes.
I find technical as well as like find the boundaries, like, like it's how much is worth for me to try to stop something that there is a high risk of me getting injury, just to avoid 2 or avoid 3 points. So
in the points back,
like training smart, it's kind of like it became a thing for me nowadays.
As long as it doesn't involve stretching or weight. So I get it. Actually, on that note, brother, on that note, what is your favorite kind of like class format? Like I know of black belts who just like to show at like G-Force, where I'm doing a little bit of casual teaching at the moment. They have an interesting format where they just do comp rounds basically, but in between every round, they stop and people who were struggling with something in that round talk to the black belt and get coaching, and then like in a group format, and then they go back and they do another role, etc., which is an interesting format. And then there's more traditional formats. What's your most favorite kind of class format, or you think results?
I think you need to vary. You need to have like a structure for like levels, like if you get a fundamentals are very basic people or people that never experience, I think it's good to have a structure where they do the old school thing. They run around, they do a little warm up, they learn how to do the forward rows, back rows, and all those little movements. I find they need to have a foundation. So, and then when they discover the other things, it's kind of like, okay, I understand why. Not jumping straight to something, But that's the format that I like for fundamentals. And then when it comes to intermediate or advanced class, you can be freely. Like the structure that you say, it's good. It's great. Like I like as well, just like the way that I've been participating in classes in America, just like straight into the technique and then long rounds, or we have so different types of structures over here. So it's going to be hard for me to tell you all of them, but we have a lot of different types of like structures. But the ones that I've been liking a lot, it's like technique, like half an hour technique explanation showing straight into technique, and then we do 3 minutes rounds, 3 minutes round, 20 seconds break, or 30 seconds break. So it's a very intense and very fast pace. And it's a different intensity of like you rolling for 6 or 10 minutes,
I love it, man. That's great. Thank you for sharing.
That's one of the structure that I've been liking at the moment. But it depends, it's season, competition season, no competition season. So you kind of like, you need to move around.
And do you have any final words of wisdom, any parting thoughts for our listeners, for people? As I said, I mean, you've 16 years of jiu-jitsu with no injuries, and getting through like that. Can you tell us anything you want to share?
That's what I try to tell. Well, one thing that I tell a lot of my students, like the white belts especially, I want you guys to understand jiu-jitsu, not just like trying to do jiu-jitsu, like I think if you understand, you're going to be able to execute positions, not like overpowering positions, and of course keep training, that's the main thing. Don't give up.
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely.
Awesome. Okay, I think we're nearly out of time, but thank you very much for giving up your time. And as I said, very accommodating. It's sometimes tricky to try and schedule these recordings, but you're very quick. I will have this out in a couple of weeks. I think just before Panpax, I think it's due. So if you could share it on your platforms, that would be fantastic and help grow our audience. It's really great, as I said, to talk to another legacy black belt. And even though you haven't been in Brazil for a while, it's still great to hear that Portuguese accent still there a little bit, which I think I know I love. I hope our listeners love as well. So thank you again.
I don't think I'll ever lose that.
Obrigado.
All right,
good.
de nada.
Right.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome.
Speak to you guys on Pumpax.
On Pumpax.
Awesome,
Thank
man.
you.
See you there,
See ya.
Cheers, man.
Bye.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye. Bye.